In today's video, we're going to be discussing the $1,200 stimulus check for those of you receiving Social Security, including disability, retirement, survivors, and SSI recipients, as well as those of you who have Direct Express and a representative payee. Hey everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to another Blind to Billionaire video. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, so let's get right into the video. And I'm with my wife, Corey.
Hi!
So if you're not already subscribed, do us a huge favor, hit the subscribe button down below, and we'll get right into the video. So first off, we want to talk about if you have not received your stimulus payment yet, what are the reasons why you haven't received it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this list comes from a variety of sources, but one source is you guys.
Yeah.
In the comment section, we appreciate it so much. And I know I responded to a few people yesterday about it, but if you tell us why you're not getting in your check, you found out I didn't get it and here's why, it helps everybody because then we all feel like, hey, I should check into that, or oh my gosh, that happened to me. It's a good way to help. It's a good way to help people, even though it's unfortunate for you.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, it helps us to go through the comment section and look at everybody's responses and literally for the thousands of comments we've read through, I feel like we've heard probably almost every situation you could probably imagine. But it's good. But we've compiled a list here of reasons why you may not have received your check quite yet. So reason number one is simply it just hasn't arrived yet. So the IRS is sending these payments out in the form of direct deposits, paper checks, and prepaid debit cards. And likely these payments will continue going out for the next several months. So today being June 9th, these payments could continue going out through like September of this year or even longer.
I mean, they could go out through the end of the year.
Through the end of the year. So these payments are going to be going out every single week for a long time. So if you haven't received it, that could just be one reason. It just simply has not arrived yet. So what I like to recommend in the comment section when I'm responding to people is not only check your accounts. So maybe you have Direct Express, continue checking your accounts as well as your mailbox just in case you receive a paper check or a prepaid debit card. Now, if you have typically a direct deposit, just recognize you could still be receiving a paper check or a prepaid debit card. So be sure to check all of those avenues because it could be coming in any of three ways.
And if you check the non-filers tool and it says, I just read a comment yesterday and that somebody talked to the IRS and in the comment section and in the non-filers tool, it said like, what is that thing it always says? Like not able to determine at this time or not determine whatever your eligibility. If it says that, what the IRS told this particular person is that means that you just haven't been processed yet. It doesn't mean that you're not eligible. It doesn't mean that you're not getting paid. It just means that it hasn't been processed yet. Yeah. So I thought that was actually really good information.
Yeah. I guess I'm still really confused like how it can't be processed yet. With all this electronics and technology, I feel like everybody should be processed literally simultaneously.
But
I just don't get it.
They're
not, but I literally do not get it. With the technology we have, it should literally be the matter of pushing a button and everybody in the entire country should be processed like simultaneously. But apparently that's not how the system works. It confuses the heck out of me. But whatever.
Yeah, but I thought that was helpful information from that person who wrote that.
Yeah, so number two would be maybe you were claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return. Unfortunately, we've been receiving many comments lately, people who did not know that they were claimed, and all of a sudden they found out, hey, my ex-husband or my mom or my brother or
somebody who, my sister did it because she's wanted to be head of household and she put me there. And it's like, well, shoot,
Yeah, so a lot of people
have known that.
You wouldn't have known that, but unfortunately, there have been a lot of people commenting that I had no idea, but I was claimed as a dependent on blank's tax return. So unfortunately, in the CARES Act, that's the first stimulus payments, the first stimulus check. The rules are if you were claimed as a dependent, technically, as it's written, you would not be eligible to receive a stimulus payment. Of course, unless you're someone who's under the age 17, that's a whole different story. But I think for the most of people watching these videos, you're over 17.
Yeah, it's like people who you think you're an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, because they are, and then you get claimed, and it's like, well, who would have known,
But I just want to throw this out there really quickly. We're not going to talk about it right now, but they're proposing in the second round of stimulus checks potentially retroactive pay for people who missed out on the first one. So if you were claimed as a dependent on the first one and you missed out, you could possibly be getting retroactive pay. That's just what they're saying. So again, we'll get into that further in other videos, but we just wanted to mention that quick. All right, so number 3.
Garnished for child supports or bills. Like, it basically was garnished, or that means that somebody else took, like a tax person or somebody who, not tax, but a creditor or a debt collector took your check before it got to you.
Yeah, again, so like basically what Corey's saying is, unfortunately, in some situations, the stimulus payments are being garnished or intercepted by other parties before it even gets to you. One example is child support. If you owe back child support, it sounds like, from what people are saying, is that it's intercepted. So I think there's a couple ways you can check that from what people have been saying in the comments. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to throw this out there. One person said that you can check on the Treasury website, something about that. I'm not exactly sure where to look, but they said you can check it there. Otherwise, on your county, I think it's your county website, there's somewhere that you can track like your child support payments or something. And I mean, if you're one of these people, you probably know a heck of a lot more than me about this. But apparently there's a way that you can track if your stimulus payment was garnished by child support that is back.
And I would even just Google, like, my stimulus check got garnished from child support. Or
which I think is really unfortunate about this is I feel like they should have been more proactive, sending out letters to these people saying, like, hey, your stimulus payment is set to be deposited on June 10th. However, because you have back child support, it's going to be garnished. So I feel like it's really unfair that these people weren't told. Meanwhile, they're sitting here waiting for their payment to come in, and it doesn't arrive, and then they finally call the IRS, and it's like, oh yeah, sorry, it was garnished 3 weeks ago. So I feel like that's unfair, but this whole thing, it just seems like there's a lack of transparency and communication, but that's unfortunate. That's where we're at. So number 4.
Payees allocated for expenses on your behalf.
Yeah, so if you have a representative payee, what I would do first is contact that person and just say, hey, by any chance, did you receive my stimulus payment? And maybe that person has already received it. Again, I just want to preface all this by saying I'm not suggesting payees are stealing your payments. That's not what we're saying at all. But maybe your payee has taken that money and allocated it for some expenses on your behalf. Maybe it's like your living expenses. Maybe it's your car insurance. Maybe it's your rent. Maybe it's your mortgage. I don't know. Maybe they took that money and they used it to help with some of your bills or something like that. So maybe just ask your representative payee, have you received my stimulus? If so, can I just ask how it was used, or whatever. That person, just remember, that person is there. They're looking out for your best interest. So I mean, that person is always, like, I would say, on your side. They're doing what they can with your finances to help you out. So in most situations, that person is looking out and has your best interest in mind.
And because they usually are the ones who, like, have to be responsible for, like, it's their job to be responsible for your SSA type money. They may not have realized that technically this wasn't money that they needed to what's that word? They needed to, like, be in control of, where they were technically supposed to just, like, give it to you. They probably may not have realized that, because I don't know how they would have been notified that that was what they were supposed to do, because no one's been notified about literally anything. So that might have been just confusion on their part, but I just check. But
again, we just want to say, this is nothing against payees. We're just throwing out some ideas for why, if you haven't received your stimulus yet, I highly doubt payees are out there to conduct, like, malicious acts against their beneficiaries. I highly doubt that. So anyway, just another idea. If you have a payee, maybe talk to that person and just ask, hey, have you received it yet? And just remember, it could come in the form of a paper check or prepaid debit card. So that's just another option. All right, number 5.
You're just not eligible.
Yeah, simply, you could, in some instances, you may just not be eligible to receive a stimulus. However, I believe...
And that would be because you're a dependent, because you're under 17. If you're under 17...
Yeah.
But then wouldn't somebody claim you as a dependent and get $500?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
neither here nor there. It really would be going to that other person.
Yeah.
So it could be that you are not a United States citizen. It could be that you were claimed as a dependent. You could make too much money, which you probably would know by now, because that actually is a whole different thing.
Yeah, but I'm guessing the majority of you watching these videos are most likely eligible to receive this, but there are some people who may not be eligible, like Corey was saying, as they have it written in the CARES Act, which I find this a little bit unfortunate because, well, let me get into it first. But if you're not a legal U.S. citizen, you would not be eligible, which I find is really frustrating because, let's be honest, there are so many people here in this country doing tons of work and living an honest life, and then they're not eligible. Paying taxes,
things they buy.
It's just so unfortunate. But yeah, that group of people apparently is not eligible. If you're married to somebody who has an ITIN, what?
That was I was wondering.
Yeah, if you're married to someone who has an ITIN, ITIN, technically both people are not eligible, which again, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not right.
It's not right, but that could be another reason. So yeah, again, I think the majority of people here watching these videos are eligible, but we just want to throw that out there. All right, number 6?
No number 6.
Oh,
but
I don't have number 6.
There's two things there's two things that I wanted to bring up really, really fast. One is if you have dependents and you have not gotten your $500, you may have to file your 2020 tax return. We say this in every video. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't gotten it, if you're not sure when you're going to get it, that might be when you get it. And if you usually don't file the 2020 tax return, you should this year to get the money. And then
that would be early next year.
That would be early next year. So that's in a way long time.
Yeah.
Next thing though is, let's say that you're somebody who makes under the $12,000 or whatever it is a year as a single person. You don't get SSA like Social Security Disability, SSI, veterans, railroad retirement benefits, any of that stuff. You don't get anything like that. And you make under the normal amount that would require you to not need to file a tax return. So you're somebody who has not filed a tax return. You should use the
non-filer tool.
Non-filer tool. Sorry, I always say these wrong. The non-filer tool by October 15th of 2020 to get into the system so that they know to pay you. So it could be somebody who makes not enough money. It could be somebody who's married to somebody who gets SSDI. They don't file a tax return, but maybe I don't receive SSDI, but maybe my husband does, and maybe I don't have a job and I don't file a tax return. Then they don't know about me, so then you have to fill it in, right?
Yep.
So just know that that's a thing you should do if you haven't gotten yours yet.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't receive any monthly benefits and you don't file a tax return, you need to fill out the non-filer tool by October 15th. That's what Corey's trying to say.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thanks so much for watching this, everybody. We hope this helps. Otherwise, leave any comments or questions down below, and we'll catch you again soon. See ya.
Bye.